late 1990s, we were caught going backstage to look at a boy. Do cherish you the most I'll ever do. Doubt if you heard 98 Degrees, you'd want to put on your best sweater and sing to your sweetheart. Crush behind the scenes. They were the R&B boy band with a lot of heartache. They were sued for $25 million for personal mistakes and were in a constant battle with their record company. Their story was as much about survival as it was about love songs. What really happened to the band that made us believe in forever? It all began with Jeff Timmons, but I started the band with some other guys in Ohio and then moved to Los Angeles. Back then, there was no such thing as social media, so you had to go after your dreams. This guy was studying psychology at Kent State and dreaming of playing football in the NFL. But one night he sang at a college party and the girls were feeling it. The next day, Jeff quit everything, said forget college, and got on a plane to Los Angeles to follow his music dream. After Jeff hit law, he met Nick Law, who was also from Ohio and was studying sports medicine at Miami University. Nick liked music too, so they hit it off right away. Nick said, "Let's make a boy band." And that's exactly what they did. You know, we sang our way backstage for our idols boys, and the men got discovered and signed to Town Records, so we were very lucky. That's amazing. Nick brought in his friend Justin Jeffrey, who had gone to the Cincinnati School for Creative and Performing Arts with him. They had worked together in a barbershop quartet at Kings Island and a cover band, so Justin was all in. But they needed one more member to complete the group, and that's when Drew Lee joined. Drew, Nick's younger brother, was working as an EMT in New York City, but when the band came calling asked him to join, he quit his job to replace Jonathan Lipman, who quit early. They were ready to take over, but they had to come up with a name. They turned down names like Just Us and Next Issue, and it was getting really stressful. Finally, their manager Paris Dijon came up with 98 Degrees, which was based on body temperature, and they were like, "That's it, that's the vibe." Our manager had a hot lover, and she said, "Why don't you call yourselves 98 Degrees?" We said, "Bingo!" And that's how 98 Degrees was born. Credit for it again, I know he does that to take my hard work. The group started out like many others do, working odd jobs to make ends meet. They worked in landscaping, security, and food delivery, and while they were practicing and figuring out their sound, they were looking at groups like Boys II Men looked to Six and Jodeci for ideas. They even went to a lot of auditions in Los Angeles to make those all-important industry contacts. They didn't waste any time with either. They saw their chance when Boys II Men was performing and jumped in to try and pass a demo tape. That's when they were discovered by music manager Paris Dijon, who was working with Montel Jordan at the time. He quickly set up for 98 Degrees to open for Montel Jordan on his tour, which gave them exposure and credibility in the music business. Through DJON's connections in the music business, especially with town executives, the group was able to sign with the famous label. It was the same town that's known for its powerful black artists, not so much for its white boy bands. They were surprised, but in the best way possible. They had always wanted to sign with Town because they love R&B, and their voices and music spoke louder than anything else. They made it clear that Town didn't sign them because of their skin color. It was all about how they sang. I feel like it's the music that kind of speaks for us being on Montana and not necessarily skin color or any other factory, but they had the voices and the music to back it up. As a result, Motown Records wanted to sign them, but before they could, one of the original members, Jonathan Lipman, quit because of his religious beliefs and started his own Christian contemporary music group called True Vibe. From the start, the group made it clear that their fans weren't just teen heartthrobs. They had fans in their 20s, 30s, and even 40s. They weren't just trying to appeal to one age group. They wanted to please everyone who liked good music, and soon enough, because of You hit number 13, they were on top of the charts. But of course, success doesn't come without problems. Their second album was under a lot of stress. Once they signed with Motown, they had to show that they weren't just a one-hit wonder. The road was bumpy, but they kept each other sharp by pushing each other all the time. As the media began to compare them to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, they had to pick and make sure no one fell. Do they follow the crowd or stick to their own style? They stick to their own style. When you're in a band with a bunch of young guys, you're going to hit some bumps. When 98 Degrees was on stage or in the studio, they had that magic. But when they're not on stage, they were just normal people. In an interview, Jeff Timmons told it like it is. They drive each other crazy. The pressure of being in a band without a pro team behind them showed. It was a lot of work and not much fun, but hey, it's hard when you're in your 20s and trying to figure everything out, right? In 2013 and 2016, they chose to go on tours together again, and it was a completely different vibe. They knew how to handle the little things. We have the full rundown of 98 Degrees' big performance, and it was a lot calmer in December 1999. Top 40 Entertainment sued 98 Degrees for breach of contract because they fired their management company almost 2 years before the end of their contract. Top 40 wasn't having it, calling the move selfish and greedy, and saying they helped the guys go from nobody to MTV stars. But 98 Degrees wasn't giving up. Their lawyer fired back, saying the management had actually done something wrong, giving them a good reason to quit. We'll never know what happened, but these things usually end in a quiet settlement instead of a messy court case. The battle in 2016. 98 Degrees made waves when they canceled 2 shows in North Carolina to protest the state's HB2 law, also known as the bathroom bill. The law violated LGBTQ rights by making people use bathrooms based on their birth certificate gender. They weren't the only ones who did this. Bruce Springsteen, Pearl Jam, Demi Lovato, and Nick Jonas also canceled their shows to show support for the LGBTQ community during a Never Have I Ever Gained challenge. The 98 Boys were feeling too honest when they were asked, "Never have I ever kissed or hooked up with a fan?" Let's just say that most of them weren't trying to hide anything. The Jeff Timmons, Justin Jeffrey, Nicola, and others all raised their hands to admit that they had crossed that line. Oh boy, I have never guess it's not all about the music after all. 98 Degrees took a break in 2002, but they called it an extended hiatus. They got back together a few times, first in 2004 to sing on Nick and Jessica's Family Christmas TV special, and then again in 2005 to support Jeffrey in his run for mayor of Cincinnati. After that, no one heard much from them for years. Then, in 2012, they announced they were back in the studio working on a new album. I actually have a bag full of leather pants from 2001. Yeah, we all thought their hiatus would be much shorter, but according to Justin Jeffrey, it just took time. Everyone got busy with life, kids, marriage, and other projects. Getting back together was a big commitment, and they needed the right time. I mean, I started the group, but there are 4 other amazingly smart and talented people in it that I can't take credit for. In April 2006, he was caught speeding in Florida in his white Mercedes after a celebrity PR softball game, and the police noticed he was buzzed. He said he'd only had 2 beers, but his license had been expired for over a year. To make matters worse, his passengers were just as drunk, with Mitch English from the Daily Buzz saying Jeff was driving because he had too much to drink. He was arrested, but bailed out quickly on a $500 bond. After his highly publicized marriage to Jessica Simpson, which was shown on Newlyweds, they broke up in 2005. Nick didn't waste any time and quickly moved on to Vanessa Manuello, who was in his breakup ballad video. By 2011, they were married and had 3 kids, and Nick's boy band days were over. Nick didn't go away. He had a solo hit with What's Left of Me in 2016. His pop career didn't take off fully, but he kept busy with TV shows like Dancing with the Stars. Nick's face is everywhere from Love is Blind to The Masked Singer, where he won as Piglet Nick. He's also led the sing-off and tried his hand at acting and did well at all of them. Nick has a cool $25 million. Good Luck Drew left the boy band life for Broadway when 98 Degrees broke up in 2004. He made his Broadway debut as Mark Cohen in Rent and then had another hit with Spam. But it wasn't just musicals. The 2006 season of Dancing with the Stars was Drew's big break, and he won it with partner Cheryl Burke. In 2019, he returned to reality TV with American Ninja Warrior to spend time with his family. Drew married his high school love, Lee DeLave, had 2 kids, and then left Los Angeles for Cincinnati. He and Lee even started a singing camp for kids called Arts. Drew doesn't have as much money as Nick, but he does have $4 million, which isn't bad. After his divorce, Jeff Timmons got joint custody of his first daughter Alyssa and their son. In 2010, he married Amanda, who brought 2 kids of her own, and the 2 of them have since had kids together. They even met at a New Kids on the Block event, which sounds like something out of a fan fiction after 98 D's fizzled. Jeff released a solo album in 2004, but he kept his pop roots alive by backing up Jordan Knight and even writing the music for Bernie the Dolphin. He also tried acting in a zombie western and a faith-based TV show called Let's Go Ladies Move Let's Go, but it was his role on Chippendales in 2011 that made him famous. He took that sexy vibe and started Men of the Strip, a show that broke Vegas box office records. Meanwhile, Justin Jeffrey changed gears and ran for mayor of Cincinnati in 2005 on a platform of arts and education reform. He didn't win. He only got 2% of the vote, but he stayed active in the community, and even got arrested for trespassing during a protest.